Hey everyone, it's Duke. I have gotten the sudden urge to do another one. You guys remember the 3-in-1 Doctor Who review thing I did, where I did those two one-part episodes of Big Finish audio dramas related to Doctor Who? Well, I kind of caught the bug to do that again. Um, in a way, it's going to be kind of a different sheet, but one, I just think I just don't got a whole lot. So to do it in this bite-sized review format might work better. It's going to be really different. Here's what we're going to do. We're actually only doing one big finish. We're doing a reconstruction. We are doing a missing episode, the only one part 25-minute part they did in the whole show. And we're actually doing an audiobook I got my hands on earlier this week from my local library. And that's the interesting one because, and when we get to it, I'll explain it, but there's a reason why I just don't feel like it's, good enough to do a whole review. So, let's go on. Okay, first up is the only big finish thing we're doing. I figured good transition for this is not actually Doctor Who per se. In addition to doing like the main range, which is I've done plenty of reviews of, Doctor Who for Big Finish they produced many spin-offs. They've done Companion Chronicles, which I did a review of one, Lost Stories, which I did a review of one, the Eighth Doctor Adventures, which I've done a few reviews for, and Fourth Doctor again. I did the very first one. In addition to doing like different audio, kind of niche Doctor Who stuff where it's in some capacity starring the Doctor, they've done straight up spin-offs. A big example, and this actually predates the Doctor Who dramas. Bernice Summerfield's a huge, kind of like their second biggest franchise, really, and it plays a lot off of Doctor Who. They did it up until Sarah Jane Adventures happened. They had their own Sarah Jane Smith series, but they had to can it because they lost the right. Big Finish lost the rights to the character because the BBC was obviously using her for the Sarah Jane Adventures. Unit was another spinoff. This only went one season, with a technical second one coming out in a weird Doctor Who release. I don't know how. Big Finish is classifying it as both, so it's weird. And what I'm covering is a story called The Coup. The Coup was this little 25-minute thing that they originally gave out on a CD along with a Bernice Summerfield adventure with Doctor Who magazine. I don't have much to say. It involves the Silurians, if you can plainly see, or at least know what the classic Silurians look like. Nicholas Courtney comes back as the Brigadier, or at least the General Lethbridge Stewart. I will say this is not big. Shut up, phone. I'm sorry. This is not big on character, really. It's not even that big on a story, because in 25 minutes, they only have a tiny little story. What they really did, though, is they kind of set up the premise for the main series, for the main 4 parts. And it's a story I don't want to really spoil. There's a good chunk of action in it, for the proportionate to the length of it. There's some cool action. Courtney's great. They really have him. They have him being a stoic old man who's a war hero. They kind of hint at the fact that he was there at the beginning with Unit and all that, which is great. And he's a badass as always. He's kind of the only notable character. If anyone's out there who's actually heard this, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't get past the fact that he doesn't really have a character. There's not much, and that's just because this isn't about a character establishing piece. This just more or less establishes the show's premise. The idea that Unit is under the operation of this other organization called ISIS, and it plays a part in that. And there's this small revelation at the end of this current episode of this story that basically, again, just sets up everything. And as far as I know, Courtney's not even he's not in all 4. He's only in 2 others, I think, from what I've heard. The only reason I liked this was because, it was exciting to listen to. Nick Courtney's awesome, and also, it's still available for free. Big Finish has since they put this up as a free download to get as an enticement, a lot like the Big Finish pieces I've done before in that previous 3-in-1 review, to kind of get you a taste for an upcoming story. But this one's available for free still, with a little introduction by Nicholas Briggs. And that's why I can't really hate this, because I didn't spend any money on it. And not only that, I did it through official. I didn't have to torrent a damn thing. This is official. They still give this out, and it does its initial job. I really want to get this series now, and if you check it out, it's not going to be too steep because, and I'm speaking U.S. In the U.S., they have it all up for download, and they're all $5 a pop. But if you get there's a special order. If you order all 4 of them, and you click this button that allows you to order all 4 of them, you get $5 off free. So you're for $15. I can't imagine it could be too bad. I get more Brig. But yeah, it's very enjoyable. I really feel like I'm underselling it because the story isn't that, for what it is, it's fine. For its length, it's fine. For the absolute cost of nothing, it's great. And I am kind of underselling it. There's great performances. A lot of the other actors, the people who are in ISIS, another person who's kind of like the liaison between Unit and ISIS, who works with the Brig. They're all good too, but you don't learn a whole lot about them, and that's why I want to check. That's what makes me want to check it out. I kind of want to know these characters. It made me interested to learn more. So yeah, I really recommend this because it costs you nothing. The second one is going to be Mission to the Unknown. Mission to the Unknown is notable for many reasons. First up, it, like unfortunately other classic Coup in the 60s, is completely missing. And here's why it's completely missing this time. It's the only one-part story the classic show ever did. And we've talked about how Big Finish has done classic story, with the classic Doctor Who, with the Doctors they got. They've done one-shot stories before. Whether it be, they have it thrown off with another one to be an anthology, or in where they did a 3-part story and had this accompany it and kind of tie in some way somehow. This had a purpose too. This kind of acts exactly like Mission to the Virens and Mary's Story and the Word Lord, because this is a giant bloated trailer to the giant 12-part Daleks master plan. And here's the thing. Word Lord, the ones I did in the first 3-in-1 review, those work great as standalone. They're good standalone stories. You don't feel like they're trying to pump something out, and in fact, you don't know that they really are. They're just, for the case of 2 of them, they were just a part of an anthology of a certain theme. In the case of the other one, maybe that's the only one that felt like it was pushing for something. But still, it felt standalone enough. This, you could just tell, hey, there's a big thing. It's the episode equivalent of, hey, pay attention to our giant upcoming event. It's like a zero. It's like the issue 0 to an event comic. Other notable things is the regular cast isn't in it, not in it at all. They were on holiday, so it's a completely different supporting cast. This was, I can't even say this is the first Doctor Light story because this had no Doctor in it. Like, not even like at least what I can remember, because I only saw it, I saw it a week ago, and for all we know, it's poof, gone. But yeah, there's no Doctor in it at all. It focuses on the exploits of the Space Special Security Service. More importantly, this agent called Mark Corey on the planet Kimball. Corey unearths evidence that the Daleks are planning to unite all these different aggressive alien species against mankind. And although, he exterminated the Daleks, a tape containing his findings survives. And sets up... Here's the thing. It sets stuff up, and I have yet to, to see or take the master plan in any form. I'm planning on getting my hands on the audio version. I watched the reconstruction of Mission for this, but I want to get the audio reconstruction the BBC put out because it has, master plan and this, because this is essentially just like part 0. It's just tough to invest in because there's no anchor for the audience. The main I don't remember his name. Corey. Corey, his performance, it seems good, but I don't know. I just didn't find him Sorry, I didn't find him charismatic enough to really care about him. He can't really carry it. The narrative's already kind of, I don't know. I really felt like he needed the Doctor to show up. It offers something. I know some people will bring up, because Terry Nation was trying to sell the Daleks as a TV show in America, which that eventually got turned into a Big Finish drama. But I don't know. There's just nothing. It's just a small story that kind of subtly sets up stuff, but I don't know why. And I've seen people say that you don't need this. If you go into listen or watch to Master Plan in whatever way you want, or even the novelization, which I know is they probably made an audiobook of it recently. I've been told many times you don't need this, and this didn't feel, I don't know, it just doesn't really crank up the tension. I think I don't know. It kind of made me say, well, I want to now see Master Plan to see if this was worth it. Because this just was very bare bones. And not all that special. And now the final thing we're going to do is the Dalek Conquest, which, as I've probably mentioned before, is an audiobook. But here's the thing, it's actually only an audiobook. It's not available as a regular book because this is the weird thing about this. It's a documentary about the Daleks. This was made in 2006, just after Series 1. And what it essentially... The setup is some guy shows up, played by Nicholas Briggs, who voices the Daleks on the show and for Big Finish. He shows up at the site of the where the underground bunker in Dalek used to be. Now it's all covered in concrete, like they said they would do. And he basically goes on to mention, basically, it starts out with an audio clip show of Dalek, and then the idea is It's telling us all of the other stories in order, all of the classic Dalek stories, and then Bad Wolf parting of the ways to cap it off. And it's in subtle ways trying to connect how certain big events like Genesis and Remembrance are actually key pieces of the Time War, which is cool. But like I've said before, this is a clip show, an audio clip show that more or less just summarizes the Daleks. Yeah, it just summarizes every Dalek story. Yeah, this is the underwhelming version, whereas the first 301 review was, very positive. This one is just kind of, actually, no, I like the Coup, that's right, I'm an idiot, but yeah, I will say this, I am glad I borrowed this from my library, because there was nothing here that made me say okay, I will say this. In terms of necessity, this isn't really needed. It's kind of cool how, and I'm sure they had some aid from Davies at the time, who kind of has the Time War mapped out in his head. It's kind of cool to see them fit certain events together. Stuff like Genesis and all that. Genesis is a very important episode of the show, and it's good that Davies made that. But again, it's not really its own. It's not again, it's a fairly good documentary. I'll say this. Nick Briggs presents this stuff very well. And it's cool to see these things kind of connected. But I don't really. If I went out and bought this, I feel unless I got it for very cheap, I'd feel kind of cheated. I'm really glad I just got this from my library, because this was very underwhelming. Well, not even that. It's just that I didn't know what to expect from this. It said The Dalek Conquest, written and performed by Nick Briggs, and I'm just like, I like Nick Briggs. I read the back. It's like, explore the history of the Daleks, and then I noticed it's a clip show, and they use the straight up audio from everything too, because they own that. And I wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend maybe listening to this once somehow. See if your library has it, or I don't know, if it ain't too expensive, or, and I don't if it's not really worth too much money. See if your library has it. Hell, and I don't want to suggest this, but maybe even torrent it. It's not really worth another listen. And I just didn't really feel like this was worth revisit. I will say this: if you're just a new fan and you want to know a little bit more about the classic show through their most popular villains, this describes some of those stories. Again, you don't get the full feel of some of these stories, because some of the best ones, like Remembrance and the original Dalek story, a lot of life in it still kind of, they put all the keynotes in, and some of the life's kind of taken out of them, because again they can't do that, because they're only limited to demonstrate certain things. If you're a new fan who wants to get in the old, I think this would work. This would be a good place to kind of maybe look into. But yeah, other than that, this isn't really. I would not. I can't recommend this too much. If you ever find it for free, maybe give it a listen. Or but other than that, it's just pick up once and put it down. Probably never going back. So thank you for, the few who probably are listening to this. If I ever get the spark to do these kinds of things again, I will definitely do it.